channel. I can't even believe I'm saying that, but here we are. So I read 58 books in 2023 and I thought I'd talk you through my absolute top ones, my absolute favourites from last year. I'm going to start off with one of my favourite books probably ever that I've ever read. I actually read it at the start of 2023 and it is a book that I still think about daily. This book just altered my brain chemistry somehow. It just did something to me, and that is If He Had Been With Me by Laura Nolan. I cannot even explain how this book makes me feel. It has literally been on my mind since I finished it. It's one of those books that I was reading so quickly that I was trying to actually slow myself down because I didn't want it to end, and I must have read it in 2 days, something like that. It just honestly has a special place in my heart, this book. This is one of the ones that kind of changed reading for me because it was one of the first ones that I found that I absolutely loved with my whole heart. This is a YA and it follows two people through high school, and the first chapter kind of reveals what happens at the end, but it also is so much more than that when you actually read the book. And I'm not going to say too much because I obviously don't want to spoil anything, but don't let the first chapter put you off, because I've seen a lot of people say that it's ruined from the start, but it's actually so much more than what it says at the beginning. I just will forever recommend this book. So in 2022, I actually read We Were Liars, and that is one of my all-time favourite books. I still think about that book to this day. And I only found out last year that there was actually a prequel, which is A Family of Liars. And I was so skeptical to read this because of how much I loved We Were Liars. I just wasn't sure whether this would kind of match up to that, but boy was I wrong. I absolutely loved this. It's basically about a really well-off family who go to an island every summer and things happen on the island. I was just so happy to be back on this island, back in this world. I love it, and I honestly think I could read 57 of these books set on this island. I love it. I love it. The next one is a book that I read earlier this year, and when I first finished it, I think I rated it 4 stars, but then because I've thought about it so much after that, I had to give it 5 stars. I literally went back to change it because it just played on my mind so much, and I just really didn't expect it to have the impact that it actually had on me. And that book is Every Last Word by Tamara Island-Stone. This book, I cannot explain to you the feeling that this book gave me. It follows a girl with OCD and kind of how she navigates through her high school life with her friendship group and how she manages through daily life. And she finds this poetry corner in her school with a few other students, and she kind of discovers that poetry is her way to express herself and kind of let out how she feels, and it's the place that she can kind of be her true self. And the twist in this book, oh my god, the twist in this book was insane. It literally gave me goosebumps, it gave me chills, I did not see it coming, and that is what really did it for me in this book, because I just cannot stop thinking about the feeling that it gave me when I read that chapter. I just can't. And I also love that there's little bits of poetry in this book as well that she's written. I think that's really nice to just break it up, and it makes reading it so quick. Just love this book. So the next one is actually a series. I'm going to recommend the whole series because I just think once you get started, you're going to want to read the whole series. And that is the A Good Girl's Guide to Murder series by Holly Jackson. This is such a good YA series. So I'm going to start with the first one. The main girl in this trilogy is Pip, and I love Pip. I think she's a great protagonist. And in the first one, she basically chooses a closed case from her town for a school project, but she starts to kind of reveal that it's not as it seemed, and she decides that she wants to uncover the truth about this crime in her town. And all 3 of them follow Pip on some sort of mission, I guess you could call it. So this one follows a murder case, this one is a disappearance of somebody that she knows, and this one is a serial killer and a stalker, somebody that's stalking her. The thing that I really love about these books as well is that they're not just all writing, so there's a lot of stuff in these books. So in the first one, there's production logs, there's transcripts with people, there's photos, there's diagrams. You just really get the feeling that you're solving the case alongside Pip, and it really feels like you're there with her, which I just love. So I absolutely loved the first one. I think the first one is probably my favourite, just because it's where it all starts, it's all new, it's exciting, and you really get the feel of the town and the feeling that something's not right. And then I did enjoy the second, just not as much as the first one. And the third one is actually nearly equal to the first one for me. But the series as a whole, I would 100% recommend. It's definitely a series worth getting into. So the next one is a bit of a surprise read for me. I picked this up because I wanted a break. I think I was reading a lot of thrillers at the time, and I just wanted a break from that and just to read something lighthearted, read something fun. And I picked The No-Show by Beth O'Leary, and I loved this book. I loved it. It's set around Valentine's Day, and there's 3 women who are all waiting for the same man. And it kind of follows his relationship or situationship with each one of these women and kind of how they ended up where they are. And something happens in this that I just did not see coming at all. And it was one of those books I kind of didn't like the way it was going up until this happened, and I was like, yeah, it all makes sense. I like that better than what I wanted in my head, and I just really enjoyed this book. Again, can't say too much because I don't want to ruin anything for you. The next one, I have never seen anybody talking about this book. This is a book that I literally walked into the works one day and I was like, that looks interesting, I kind of want to read that. And I just picked it up. Had no expectation for it. And like I said, I hadn't seen anybody speaking about it before. And that is The Castaways by Lucy Clarke. So this follows 2 sisters who are meant to go on holiday together, and one of them doesn't show up to the airport, and the other one gets on the plane and the plane crashes on an island. It follows a past and present storyline, and you get to see what happens on the island with one sister, and then you follow the other sister in the present looking for the sister that went missing. This has also just become a series on Paramount Plus, which is so cool to see that happening. And I would definitely recommend reading the book before you watch the series, because the series is a slightly different plot, and I would definitely recommend reading this because I loved this book. The next one has a special place in my heart. It's in my top 3 of the whole year, and I just really love this book. It honestly just feels like a comfort book, and that is Happy Place by Emily Henry. This is just such a heartwarming read. And what I absolutely love about this book is that it doesn't just focus on her romantic relationship, but also her relationships with her friends and how these are changing over time, and how all of these friends are navigating their lives alongside each other, and how they're growing and changing, and how that's okay and things can't always stay the same. And I just love how Emily Henry highlights that in this book, as well as her romantic relationship and following along with that as well. Harriet and Wynne in this book are one of my favourite couples I think I've read. I just adore them. I just think this is such a special book, and it is forever one that I'm going to recommend to people. Okay, next we have 2 thrillers. So the first one is a Lisa Jewell. Now I love Lisa Jewell's books. The Night She Disappeared is another Lisa Jewell book, and that was one of the first books that I read that really got me into reading. I don't know how she does it, but every single Lisa Jewell book is so fast paced, it's so interesting, and I just fly through them. And this one was no different, and that is Then She Was Gone. I don't want to say too much about this because I don't want to give anything away, but it's basically about a girl who goes missing, and her mum has never given up looking for her, and we kind of follow along with their mum, and she meets this nice guy, and yeah, things start to unfold. She starts to uncover some things about her daughter's disappearance, and that's all I'm going to say because I think this is a really easy one to give spoilers for, so I'm just going to leave it at that. The next thriller that I absolutely loved this year is The Housemaid by Frida McFadden. This is actually my first Frida McFadden book that I've read, and I love the way she writes, and I just can't wait to read more of her books in 2024. This follows a woman who's just come out of prison, and she's looking for a job, and she gets one as a housemaid for this really rich family. It's a couple and a daughter, and she can feel that something's just not quite right about this family, but she doesn't really want to ask questions because she needs the job. and she doesn't know for sure what's kind of going on. And I will just say that I did actually see the ending coming, I did see the twist coming, but it didn't make me enjoy it any less, and I would definitely recommend this if you're looking for a very solid thriller. Next we have another series, and this is probably a series that I talk about way too much, but I just love it, and that is the Maple Hills series by Hannah Grace. What I love about both of these books is that even though they're light-hearted and they're fun, they also both deal with some really hard topics. And I think that's really nice to see in a book like this because they just feel very real. That's the best way I can describe it. And I just really like how Hannah Grace deals with these topics. I also absolutely love Nate Hawkins. I love Anastasia Allen and Nate Hawkins, who's from Icebreaker. I love them both individually, I love them together, and I think that's what makes a really strong couple, because you're rooting for them individually but you're also rooting for them to be together, and I just really enjoyed reading them. And Wildfire was really fun as well. This was set at summer camp, and it just had such a cozy feeling with the log cabins and the campfires. I just loved the whole setting and the vibe of this book. I definitely recommend getting into this series, especially if you like spicy books as well, because these books have some spice. The next one is probably a book that I will never stop recommending to people, and that is Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. This is just such a cute book. It's so cute. It's so cute. It's literally like watching a rom-com. That feeling you get when you watch a really good rom-com, that is this book. That is this book. It's a YA romance. It's got kind of enemies to lovers. It's got fake dating trope in it. It's just such a heartwarming, cute book. And I absolutely love the movie quotes at the beginning of each of the chapters, and I love how when you look back at them you see that the movie quotes kind of were hinting at what was happening in the chapter, and I just love that. I think it was really clever, and yeah, I just will forever recommend this book. The last one is another series that I talk about probably way too much, but I don't think I will ever stop thinking about this series. I don't think I will ever stop talking about it. I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed. And that is the Magnolia Parks universe. This series has a chokehold on me. I don't know what Jessa Hastings puts in these books, but every single one alters my brain chemistry, I swear. I don't even know where to start with these books. I honestly don't. So first of all, we have Magnolia Parks, which follows the point of view of Magnolia and BJ. And then the second book in the series is Daisy Hates, and this follows the point of view of Daisy Hates, Julian Hates, and Christian Hems. And these books are the same timeline, but from those different points of views, if that makes sense. And again, the same with 3 and 4. So they're the same timeline, but different points of views. This book honestly ruined me. Jessa Hastings has managed to make all these characters feel so real. They honestly feel like real people with real problems, with real flaws, and you feel frustrated with them at times, you love them at times, and it's just such an emotional roller coaster reading these books, and you just become so attached to the characters, even if they annoy you sometimes, and even if they do things you wouldn't do. Also, how they think is so relatable, and it just feels very real. And that's what I love about these books, is that they just feel so raw and real. And then we have Daisy Hates. I love Daisy Hates. I love her. Her brother Julian Hates, we also see his point of view in this book. He's the most notorious gang lord in England, so this is more of a mafia vibe and setting. I just love every single one of these characters. I love Daisy, I love Julian. Julian just has a hold on me. He just, honestly, I adore him. I adore him. This book also follows Christian as well and his relationship with Daisy. And I will say I wasn't as invested in them in this one as I was to Magnolia and BJ in the first. But when we got to Daisy Hates, The Great Undoing, I loved them. I think Christian's character development by the time it got to this book was just so good, and I actually began to really like him in this. Not as much as Julian though, and Julian Hates in this book broke my heart into a million pieces. That man. I can't even think of Pyro now. And then Magnolia Park's A Long Way Home. I don't even know where to start with this book. I honestly, the ending of this book, I don't think I'm ready to talk about yet. I genuinely cannot get over the ending of this, and Jessa Hastings loves a cliffhanger. She loves to just throw something in at the end and then go, and I'm gonna leave you with that. And she definitely did that with this book, and I'm just desperately holding on until the next one comes out, which I don't even think I'm ready for, but also I need it right now. So this series honestly has my heart. If you couldn't tell already, I love it. I'm obsessed. I honestly think I will forever be thinking about this series, about these characters. I just love it. So they're my top books of 2023. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm so excited about this channel. I've got so many fun, exciting things planned for 2024. I just can't wait. Thank you for being here, and I will see you in my next video.